Across the world we experience earthquakes, some countries more than others, but why is this? We know that an earthquake causes the ground to move, which can destroy our built-up areas. But what causes them in the first place? In this video, we will look at the causes of earthquakes around the globe. What is an earthquake? An earthquake is the vibrations of the earth, when the surface begins to move as a result of a sudden release of energy. This sudden release, also known as a seismic wave, is caused by movement, or a sudden break in rocks underground. Most earthquakes occur where the tectonic plates meet or where there are fault lines, but they can also be caused by volcanoes, landslides, and explosions. An example from volcanoes is when pressure is built up under the surface, it needs to be released, and this explosion can cause seismic waves, which results in an earthquake. What do fault lines have to do with earthquakes? Fault lines are where rock segments under the Earth's surface have experienced fractures. Fault lines can vary dramatically, some can be as small as 1 to 2 inches or up to thousands of miles long. The state of California has some of the biggest fault lines in the USA, with 7 major ones being in the San Francisco Bay Area. As the fault lines become bigger, so does the earthquake. For example, in California, if there is a slight movement between the Pacific and North American plates, this could cause movement and breakages of the rocks with the fault lines. What is a seismic wave? A seismic wave is energy that travels through the Earth's layers when a sudden movement happens. We have been recording earthquakes for over 4,000 years, but now seismometers are used to measure these energy waves. It does this by recording ground movements and vibrations. It is also used to study the Earth's internal structure. In simple terms, it works to measure the up and down movements of the Earth, by using a weight attached to a spring. A pen is attached which records these movements on paper every time the weight moves. You may have heard the term tremor instead of an earthquake. It is the term used to describe a non-earthquake seismic rumble, so anything under a certain size. They can sometimes be indicators that an earthquake is coming, and these are known as foreshocks. How do we measure an earthquake? Earthquakes are measured by magnitude using the Richter scale. Charles Richter invented the Richter scale in 1935, and it became the universal way of measuring how strong an earthquake was. The Richter scale is used to tell the power of an earthquake and is a logarithmic scale. For example, an earthquake with magnitude 3.0 is about 10 times the amplitude of an earthquake with a score of 2.0. The scale was used alongside a seismometer which could detect earthquakes from around 62 miles (100 kilometers) away. For example, both the Nagasaki atomic bomb explosion and an earthquake in Lancashire, the United Kingdom in 2008 measured the same on the Richter scale. Both the above events measured an approximate 5 magnitude on the Richter scale, indicating that 32 kilotons of seismic energy was produced. What country has the most earthquakes? Japan has experienced the most earthquakes on record. This is because Japan sits on one of the most seismic active places in the world. Historically, the most deadly earthquake recorded was in China on January 23, 1556 AD. The powerful earthquake killed around 830,000 people. When the Richter scale was invented in the 1930s, scientists predicted what magnitude this earthquake could have been. The results from the prediction suggested it would have been between 8.0 to 8.3. The biggest earthquake on record was the Valdivia earthquake in Chile in 1960, which measured a magnitude of 9.5. The earthquake caused a tsunami which, combined, killed around 5,700 people. The second biggest earthquake on record was the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake, which caused a devastating tsunami. It measured a magnitude of 9.3 and it ended up killing around 230,000 people, across India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Indonesia. An earthquake is the result of the Earth's layers experiencing sudden movement, which causes built-up energy to create seismic waves. There is no escaping these monstrous acts of nature, but there is a lot we can do to prepare for them. As technology has developed, our ability to measure, predict, and prepare for earthquakes has excelled in recent years. This means that in most cases earthquakes don't cause as much destruction to humanity as they once did. As long as the Earth keeps moving, we will always experience earthquakes.